Man, lots of stuff going on in the NFL. I don't even know what football is anymore. But what is going on, guys? My name is Antonio, and this is the AAS. I'm your host, Antonio. Today, we are going over my Week 17 picks going into Week 17. We are in the home stretch. We don't know what's going to happen with these teams. Loads of playoff teams on the playoff matchups on the line. We have loads of matchups. We're going to be going over all of them. We're going to be going over the picks I have for each team and why. So let's get started off with the first one. Thursday night football. You got an easy pick here. You got the New York Jets going against the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland has been such a dominant team since getting Joe Flacco. They are looking so good right now. I see them getting a win against the Jets because the Zach Wilson is not going to get anywhere. And even if it's another quarterback, they are not getting past this Cleveland defense. Then, Saturday night, you got a thriller matchup between the NFC North champion Detroit Lions taking on the Dallas Cowboys in Big D. Dadgum, this is going to be a massive matchup. Still wearing my Cowboy hat after the Cowboys lost last week to the Miami Dolphins. Meanwhile, the Lions clinching their division for the first time in almost 30 years. They have waited a long time for this. Their fans have waited a long time, and they deserve it. Man, this is going to be a good matchup. And as we all know, the Cowboys are 7-0 at home. Meanwhile, on the road, they are 3-5 on the road. But I am going with the Detroit Lions here because they are more physical of a team. They are super physical. They have shown up in those big games when they're facing adversity. In fact, they showed up last week against Minnesota, which everybody's saying they're not a great team, against Nick Mullins. But this team is still good. They made it close against the Vikings. I see the Detroit Lions coming out with a win in Dallas, sending them the first home loss in 14 tries. And then, one of the New Year's Eve games, you got the Tennessee Titans going into Houston to take on the Texans. Now, Case Keenum, I don't know if he's going to be the starter next week or if it's going to be C.J. Stroud. We don't know what's going to happen. But either way, after what happened to the Tennessee Titans last time the Texans beat them, I'm going with the Texans this time. I am going with the Texans because they are just one of the best teams in football right now. And then, a battle of the weeks. You got the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Bears. The Falcons coming off a big win against the Indianapolis Colts in a big statement win right there. And then the Bears beat the Cardinals. I am going... Now, this is taking me all day to debate this. I am going... Shocker here. I'm going with the Bears because it is at home in Soldier Field and Justin Fields is playing his best ball right now. I see the Bears winning this one against Atlanta. And then the battle of the AFC 1 seed. You got the Miami Dolphins taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Dadgum, this is going to be a great game being played in Baltimore. This is going to be a massive game for both sides. But it is in Baltimore, and it is a high-stakes game. I see the Baltimore Ravens coming out with the victory and clinching the number 1 seed of the AFC. I see it happening right there and then. And then the battle of the NFC South. You got the New Orleans Saints going into Tampa to take on the Buccaneers. I'm going with Tampa Bay on this one because they just beat the Jaguars, pounding them at home. They are looking super good right now, super underrated, and they are going to get the W right here and maybe clinch the NFC South. And then, upset that happened a few weeks ago. You got the Patriots going on the road to take on Bills Mafia and the Buffalo Bills. Last time these two teams met, it was New England Patriots that came out with the win, but the Bills have played dominantly the last few weeks. I am going with the Buffalo Bills at home. I see them getting the win and staying in the hunt of the playoffs. And then the Cardinals and the Eagles. I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles because they barely escaped New York, but they are still going to win this game against Arizona because Kyler Murray has not looked so good this past few weeks. I see the Eagles getting the win. And then then you got the Battle of the Cats. You got the Carolina Panthers going into Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars coming off a big loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Meanwhile, the Carolina Panthers come off a close loss, a very close loss to the Green Bay Packers. I am still going with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I still think they're going to get a W some point and keep their hopes for the AFC South alive. And then you got Antonio Pierce and the Raiders going on the road into Indy to take on the Colts and Gardner Minshew. Raiders coming off a big defensive stand last week against Kansas City. 2 defensive touchdowns in 7 seconds. I mean, I don't know another team that's done that this season. But just because of the way that the Raiders are playing right now, I am going to have to say this. I am going with the Raiders this time. The Colts may have Gardner Minshew, but the Raiders are a whole different animal now with Antonio Pierce at coach. And then you got the Battle of the Blue. You got the LA Rams going on the road to New York to face the New York Giants. I have the Rams winning this one because they are still in the playoff hunt. And with this win, the Rams will keep their hopes for the playoffs alive. And then you got the San Francisco 49ers going into the nation's capital against the Washington Commanders. I have the 49ers winning this game. They are going to come back and looking for someone to pound. If they don't win this game, I'll be surprised. And then the Super Bowl 40 rematch. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers going into Lumen Field to face my Seattle Seahawks. Man, I have waited for this game for a while. I have waited for a long time to see this game. The rematch of the rigged Super Bowl, most rigged Super Bowl in Super Bowl history. This game is huge for both sides. Both sides looking to get into the playoffs. But the Seahawks have played better defensively. If we look at the last 2 games, they intercepted Philly on the last minute drive that was being driven by Jalen Hurts. Julian Love got that toe tap. And then against the Titans, they had that sack and then tackled the dude in bounds to end the game. Just because of the defense and Geno Smith, I am taking the Seattle Seahawks to get the win and get their revenge from Super Bowl 40. And I got an old score to settle with those Steelers. And it's going to be good. And then you got an AFC Championship rematch as the Cincinnati Bengals go on the road to KC to take on the Chiefs. Chiefs coming off of a big loss to the Raiders, division rival. Meanwhile, the Bengals coming off a big loss themselves to the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. I see the Chiefs rebounding after this game because it's at home in Arrowhead. They're going to have to show up and they're going to have to show out to win this game. And then Sunday Night Football. You got the Green Bay Packers taking on the Minnesota Vikings. Dadgum, this is going to be a great game. Holy cow, the NFC North showdown. The Lions may have already clinched the division, but both these sides are still looking to make the playoffs. But, oh my gosh, this is such a big game for both sides. And I am going with the Minnesota Vikings at home in Minneapolis with that crowd in Minnesota with the skull chant going on. I see the Minnesota Vikings getting the win at home and getting the W. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below of what your predictions are. And I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you're new. Turn on the notification bell. I'll catch you all in the next one. So long for now.